Hey guys, you ready for lesson one on how to write research papers? We're going to choose topics today. So the first thing you need to know about choosing a topic is that if it's too big, you don't have anything to say. It sounds kind of backward, right? Like if it's a big, broad topic that there's nothing to say about it, and if there's nothing to say about something, you're going to get bored, and so are your readers. So you don't want to choose a big, broad subject like animals or something huge because there's just too many things that you could say about it, so you end up saying nothing. So I'm going to give you an example of how to narrow your topic. So my husband is an airline pilot. And so a big, broad subject, if he were going to write a paper, he might pick flying as a big, broad subject. And there would be way too many things to say about it, and so that would make him not be able to say anything. So here's this huge list I wrote of things he could talk about flying. So he's been doing it for 35 years. He's flown different airplanes. He's had different jobs at different companies. He's flown charter pilot as a charter pilot. He's flown as a commercial pilot working for like a company where he just flies around the people that work there. He's an airline pilot right now. He's been an instructor. He's been a dispatcher where he was in the office making flight plans for flights. So he could talk about education. He could talk about aircraft systems, different planes, company policies. He could talk about what his day is like. He could talk about weather. He could talk about all the rules that they have for flying. He could talk about charts for airports, for where they look at the runways and it's like a map of the airport. He could talk about the millions of different words they use in aviation. It's like listening to a foreign language when he's talking to some other pilot. Talk about the history of flying, the history of his airline. He could talk about there's like this big airplane graveyard in the desert where when they stop using planes, they go out there and they park them. And I don't even know how many there are out there parked in the desert. You talk about airports, about air traffic control. There'd be a million things, and it'd be books and books and books worth. But if he tried to write a report about all those things, he wouldn't be able to say anything much of interest at all because nothing would be very specific. So he would have to choose one of those things to make his topic more narrow. So he would have to maybe make a list of questions he could ask himself. What's the most interesting thing about his job? Or does he want to talk about a job he had before or a job he has, or his job that he has now? He could narrow it down so that would be by time. You could narrow down you could narrow your topic by saying, well, what time period do I want to talk about? Like, let's say you wanted to talk about wars, which would be huge. So you would narrow it down to a time period. Maybe you say you want to talk about a specific war like World War II. That's still way too big. So you'd need to ask other questions. You'd need to ask yourself questions about things that you might be interested in about that. Like location could be one. If you were talking about World War II, you could pick a specific battle at a specific time in a location and find out something about that specifically. Let's say you pick a person in history, or even just current person you know. You could ask who they are, what they did, why they did it. Let's see what else. I have a whole list. What effect did it have on those around them? When did they do it? Where? Okay, so you can ask yourself all these questions, and you can use these questions even about events or science topics or any nature topic, any whatever the subject is that you're interested in for your paper. You can ask yourself these questions, and that would narrow down some of the options for you. So you will probably have to go look up things about this. So as you choose a topic for this, during this first week, your assignment is going to be to choose a topic and narrow it down. You want to start researching. We're going to talk about research next week, but you want to start doing a little bit of research to find out what specific thing you want to talk about in your paper. Okay, so you're going to pick a broad subject, and then you can make a list, like a list of everything you know about it already, and then, or you can make a list of questions that you want to answer about it so that you can figure out how to narrow it down. So the thing is, it's sometimes people think it's funny that when you narrow it down really specific, your topic, to some really specific thing, that you're not going to have enough to say about it. But actually, the more specific you get about your topic, the more you're going to have to say about it, and it's going to be more interesting because you can tell more detailed facts about it or story about it, an experience, and you can talk about your opinion about it more in detail if you have a very narrow topic. So you want to get your topic. I don't even think you could have too narrow of a topic. So you want to get it as defined as you can, a specific question maybe that you want to answer. So you want to choose whether you're going to inform or persuade. So you need to decide, as you're starting to narrow your topic, you need to decide whether you want to just tell about something or you want to get someone to agree with your opinion about it. So you want to persuade them to your way of thinking. So this is what you're going to do this week. You're going to pick a broad subject. You're going to ask yourself questions about it, brainstorm, make as many notes as you can to try and decide how to narrow it exactly to something that you're most interested in talking about. You're going to decide whether you're going to inform or persuade, and we will talk about researching next week. Have a great week.